Welcome to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Mike Shildt's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
A tough Sunday for the Padres in Minnesota as they drop the rubber match of this three-game series to the Twins by a final score of 7-2. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Padres dropped to 76-61 with the defeat today. The Twins improved to 62-74. Padres lose 2 out of 3 this weekend in Minnesota. They go 2-4 on this 6-game road trip to Seattle and Minneapolis. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll go back to Target Field in Minnesota, hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We also have all the radio highlights, full game recap coming your way as well on what otherwise is a very beautiful Sunday on this Labor Day weekend. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Beautiful weather outside, sun shining, but a tough day for the Padres in Minnesota. And we'll get into the particulars of this series finale in our game recap, go over how it went down. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, and I'll get to something that we got to keep an eye on when Mike Shildt speaks, and when we have that audio, we will play it for you from Minnesota. But to me, two things can be true at once. The Padres season is not over because they lost 2 out of 3 to the Minnesota Twins. At worst, if the Dodgers win today against Arizona, Padres will be 2 games out of first place in the NL West entering September, and the Padres firmly sitting in a postseason spot, firmly sitting in the second wild card spot right now. That is 100% true. And look, they can bounce back with a really nice homestand, nice series against the Orioles, and all will be well in a few days. However, the bottom line is this: Padres lost 2 out of 3 to a Minnesota team that came in well under 500, a Minnesota team that had a major sell-off at the trade deadline. And I think this series, to me, should serve as a good reminder to the Padres of a few things as they now head into the month of September and hopefully deep into October. We have talked a lot on this station across the Padres landscape about the Padres having a very easy remaining schedule, easiest schedule in baseball the rest of the year when you look at it by combined opponent winning percentage. And that's true. It's a soft schedule. It's a schedule the Padres should hypothetically be able to take advantage of in the final month of the season. But make no mistake, these are major league teams and major league players, and you've got a lot of players, even on bad teams, that are fighting for their baseball lives, trying to make it in the major leagues, and you still need to play well in a lot of different facets in order to win games in the majors. And look, on this road trip, and it was 2 very different series. Seattle's a very good team. I think they've got a great chance to go win the American League pennant. Minnesota's obviously a different team, sell off at the deadline, a lot of young guys getting opportunities, and they're playing out the schedule right now. But you need to play well. And the Padres did not play their brand of baseball, which to me is a good, clean, crisp brand of baseball, a lot throughout this road trip, and in particular in this series. We saw the defense at times falter a little bit. The starting pitching wasn't great at times. The bullpen wasn't great at times. The offense was pretty inconsistent on this road trip, in and out of some different rallies. But really, aside from a couple of innings on this road trip, really nothing super consistent about this offense. So in a general sense, even though the Padres have an easy remaining schedule, you've got to remember they've got to play well in order to win these games and ultimately get to where they want to go. And if they want to win a National League West division title, which is very much in reach. So to me, that's reminder number one, in a very general sense, that we can talk as much as we want about the easy remaining schedule, but the Padres got to play well and they have to take care of business. And you can't just, expect to beat these teams. Not that they are, but you have got to play your brand of quality baseball, which I believe they've played most of this year and they're capable of, in order to win these games, even against teams well under 500 like the Twins are. Another good reminder from this series, the Padres will need, and today was a different story, and we'll get into the game with David Morgan opening. Kyle Hart did not pitch very much in this game, was in for a little bit, but didn't really give him the bulk innings that we necessarily expected. But when you go over before today what the Padres got from a starting pitching standpoint on this road trip, to me, it highlights one of the things they need moving forward, and that's from Yu Darvish, that's from Dylan Cease. Nick Pavetta's obviously given them length all year. It's hopefully for Michael King when he comes back. Anybody else that's making starts right now for the Padres. JP Sears on Monday in Seattle went only 3 2/3 innings. Dylan Cease went only 4 1/3 in Seattle on Tuesday. Then you look at it after that on Wednesday. Yu Darvish went only 4 innings. Nestor Cortez couldn't get out of the 4th inning on Friday. Pavetta goes 5 innings yesterday. And here today, a little bit of a different story with David Morgan being the opener. But again, Kyle Hart comes in, gets into trouble, gives up the home run. And ultimately, look, the Padres didn't allow him to go very deep into this game in that bulk innings role. They got aggressive with the bullpen. Didn't quite work out today. But the Padres are going to need more length from their starters, and that's for 2 reasons. Number one, I think it's easier to win games that way. It's not putting as much pressure on your bullpen day to day. And in a bigger picture sense, look, the relievers can't pitch every day. The Padres are going to need more depth out of their starters, and we'll see if they can do that moving forward. But they certainly did not get that very much in this road trip. Again, today a different story, but the deepest outing anybody had on this road trip was 5 innings by Nick Pivetta, and generally they're going to need more length out of their starters. And when you look at this trip in particular, including the games in Minnesota, and this was including yesterday. Now, the Padres put together a big rally late, great for them. The Padres were just playing from behind a lot in this series and on this road trip. If you look at where they were in the middle innings of a lot of these games, they're very consistently playing from behind. And the reason I feel like that's a good reminder for the Padres that it's important that they get better starting pitching and they take leads is because this is very much a team that is built on the strength of their high leverage arms in the bullpen. And the way other teams can neutralize that strength is by not letting the Padres have a lead, not letting them work with a lead, because we know when the Padres have a lead and they can flip things over to that bullpen in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, shorten the game, that's when the Padres are at their best. But the way they played many games on this road trip, they just weren't given that opportunity, again, because the offense, didn't have a lot going early in a lot of these games, and also because the starting pitching wasn't great. And you need those 2 things in order to take a lead and be able to take advantage of what is your strength, which is your bullpen. The big 5 in that bullpen, they have all mostly been great. I know Estrada wasn't great today, but look, that is the strength of this team. And from a postseason perspective, I think it's going to be the way. If this team is going to go all the way, I think it's going to be probably the way they're going to get there is by relying on this bullpen to shut the door and shorten games. But they really weren't given the opportunity in this series very much and on this road trip very much to do that. So again, I make 2 points to you. Number one, is it the end of the world today that the Padres dropped 2 out of 3 in Minnesota? No. At the worst today, they're going to be 2 games out of first place. They're firmly in a playoff spot as they enter September. That's great. Padres still after today sit at a record of 76 and 61, 15 games over 500. This should be a team that hopefully wins well more than 90 games and is heading to October. That's true. At the same time, I do think this road trip and this series in Minnesota should be a reminder of a few things. A, you got to play well, no matter who the opponent is. B, you need better starting pitching and lengthier starting pitching. And playing from behind, I think, for this Padres team in particular right now is not a great recipe. It's not a great recipe because the bullpen is such a strength in the back end. And also, look, this Padres team does not hit a ton of home runs. Okay, now they've won a lot of games despite that, but it is not a team built to necessarily play from behind and then get back into a game via slug. Now, the Padres, as we saw yesterday, when they don't score first, they actually have done very, very well when opponents score first. But falling behind by multiple runs, this is not the type of offense to this point this season that has shown the knack to really slug their way out of a deficit, right? We saw it yesterday. It was Petco Park hitting, stringing hits together, that big seventh inning, taking advantage of mistakes, and that's all great. But they're not going to really, unless something flips, they're not really going to slug their way out of it. So again, you make the point that playing from behind, it just doesn't feel like a great recipe, and you need better starting pitching, a little bit more consistent offense, and Padres did not get that at times on this road trip. I know I didn't really get into the particulars of today's game. We'll do that after the break, and we'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Final score here today, Twins 7 and the Padres 2 as Minnesota wins 2 out of 3 from San Diego. Our postgame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, the Twins 7 and the Padres 2. Hey, player, the all-new Jamul Casino Resort is now open with a Lux Hotel Tower, rooftop pool, spa, and a long list of amazing amenities. You'll have more ways to play and enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We'll have the game highlights, full game recap coming up in just a little bit. We'll go back to Minneapolis at Target Field, hear from Mike Shildt in just a second. I know in that opening segment, little bit different than what we usually do. I didn't really get into the details of this game in particular, gave you more of a general sense of the road trip and what it meant, and the Padres losing this series in Minnesota this weekend. Now, Joe Ryan was great today, 7 shutout innings. I mean, that's a really, really good pitcher coming off a couple of really tough outings, but he was much, much better today, 7 shutout innings. Obviously, the Padres went with an opener today. David Morgan did his job, 2 scoreless innings. Then after that, Kyle Hart came in, gave up a 2-run home run to Byron Buxton in the third, and that kind of set things off today. Hart would give up 3 runs. Wandy Peralta, really tough 5th inning. 3 more runs came in. Twins took a 6-0 lead, then a 7-0 lead. Padres then scratched across a couple of runs in the top of the 9th inning to make it 7-2, and that was our final score. One other note from this game, Fernando Tatis Jr., in the bottom half of the 7th inning was coming in on the blooper off the bat of Royce Lewis that ended up scoring the 7th run for the Twins in this game. And as he was coming in, it clearly grabbed for the back of his right leg, and then on the television broadcast could be seen sort of stretching things out in right field after the play. Now, Tatis didn't get another at bat in the game. He did not go out back out for defense in the bottom half of the 8th inning, albeit the Padres were trailing 7-0. So even had that not happened with him grabbing for the back of his right leg, who knows, he maybe doesn't come out anyway. I've not heard this audio from Mike Shildt. I don't know if Mike Shildt asked about it or not, but to me, it is something to keep an eye on. It was not a major grab of the back of his leg. It was something, though. It was a little grab of it. He pulled up a little bit, stayed in the game. Training staff never went out, looked at him, anything like that. But it is something to note. Again, I've not heard this from Mike Shildt. I don't know if Mike Shildt, if he's asked about it or not, but just keep that in mind as we go back to Minnesota, hear from the Padre manager.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
What is your level of disappointment? Just the way that it ended, you guys had a shot.
I mean, disappointed. I mean, it wouldn't have gained the win our way, clearly. I mean, I'm disappointed. I don't know how else to say it. It's got down and just couldn't scratch back.
Morgan clearly did his job.
Morgan was great.
What was the top end for Hart there? Like, what were you hoping to get out of him?
It's a bullpen game. So we took him to his guy. What we're hoping to get, we got into the 8th place hitter, Outman. This guy that faced 3 batters. What we're hoping? We're hoping to get outs. What we're really hoping is not to have hit batters or walks leading into base hits and homers. That's what we're hoping for.
Just didn't know what let's see what he'd done in the finals. I didn't know what his length was on there, but that was the batter he was going to regardless. Is that what I'm following? I was wondering how many pitches he had. What you were hoping.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-batter minimum. He's the biggest link that got. When you said he had to face Buxton,
I wasn't just talking about taking him out. I
was
was
just saying
what kind of length you were looking for from him at the start, like from Hart.
What he gave us.
Okay.
Back through Clemens.
Okay.
And then went with Strada. Yeah.
Kind of
he had to pitch to, a couple guys, right? Is that to answer your question? I'm not sure I understand it.
I didn't even know it was going to go this way because I didn't have any. I never thought you should take him out earlier.
All right. I'm just trying to understand the question. I can best answer it. That's all I'm trying to figure out. He's our most linked guy, so we try to take him through Clemens.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what we did.
What kind of explanation did you get on the balk call?
I didn't really get one. I don't. I called it from second base. It's not a great angle. It's not historically where you see a balk call take place, but. He saw it, and every umpire has the right to call.
So, calendar turns now into September. You're heading back home for, you get 16 out of 25 to close up at home.
Right.
Where you guys have 43 and 22 records, something like that.
Yeah.
What's been, is there a secret behind this home field advantage, or what's had you playing so well in front of the home crowd there?
There's no place like home. We've got amazing fans, and we got a great vibe there. We're comfortable there. We love the energy there, and we perform well there. We're excited about getting home.
Last year, you hit a stretch where in September you won 10 out of 11 to kind of, ice your playoffs. What was the key to that stretch? Is there something that you can replicate?
We've had similar stretches this year, so we feel good about. If you look at the body of work, we've done a lot of that this year. And been really consistent with it, and had the guys to bring it home in the bullpen that are ready, and when that opportunity presents itself, when we have the lead. Last year was very similar. We had a good team that hungry, knows what it looks like, and we're excited to go dominate September.
Yeah, you've got experience. Even the new guys you brought in have experience from other organizations down the stretch. How important is it to have so many veterans who've been through this before?
Quite a bit. It means a lot. It's a battle tested team. I said that actually to the team. I was really proud of this team a lot. Really pleased with the new additions. One of the things I'm most pleased about is how we put ourselves in a spot where the organization committed to be able to go make the additions we have to make our team even stronger. We had guys, some of which are not here, but some younger guys trying to prove themselves in this league that really stepped up and performed well. So it's a battle tested group, and so battle tested group from last year, battle tested group from this year. It's a hungry group, and we're excited to dominate September.
Do you get probables for the next 3?
Yeah, we're going to stay on term.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after the 7-2 loss for the Padres against the Minnesota Twins. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. We'll have the game highlights, full game recap coming your way in just a little bit. I do want to touch on just Kyle Hart, and you heard the back and forth there between Kevin Acey of the San Diego Union Tribune and Mike there. And, look, Kyle Hart, when he was activated today, obviously you felt like he was going to play a role in this game one way or another, whether that was for more of a bullpen game, quote unquote, or if that was for Hart to get, quote unquote, bulk innings, right? We've seen Kyle Hart play that role before this season. We talked in the pregame about the game on July 6th against the Rangers when Hart went 3 2/3 perfect innings and really was that bulk guy. He ended up throwing 43 pitches in that game. Now, the interesting thing with Hart as of late, if you look at his appearances at AAA, they've actually been shorter bursts as of late. I'll give you a couple examples. He got 1 out on August 28th. He only pitched an inning on the 27th, the day before that. The 23rd, he pitched an inning by pitches, 5 pitches, 17 pitches, 22 pitches. There was a 2-inning appearance on August 19th, 43 pitches. In fact, if you look at it, since August 7th, he has not thrown, or you know what, I'll take it back further than that. Since July 23rd, he has not thrown more than 43 pitches in an outing. In fact, he had only thrown more than 40 pitches twice. The point being to bring this up is I don't know that Kyle Hart was going to give you like 5-6 innings out of the bullpen today in kind of that. Now, 5-6 innings would be more than bulk, but I don't know that he was going to give you 3 2/3 innings today like he did in that game against Texas, where he was great in this kind of role. He ended up throwing 29 pitches in this game. So I think he probably, if anything, gets another inning, maybe a few more batters. It wasn't going to be the 3 2/3 type of thing that we saw earlier this season. So look, Hart came in, clearly ended up being just more of a bullpen day. And the Padres, I think, took him where they wanted him to go, as you heard Mike say there. Now, the problem for Kyle Hart, beyond what he could have done today, pitch count wise, or what the Padres were looking for at the outset, the issue today for Kyle Hart was this: walks the number 9 batter in front of Byron Buxton. That's a tough matchup. Buxton against Hart, and Buxton took him deep, made it 2-0, and that sort of started the whole issue, in this game for the Padres. And then Hart comes back out for the 4th inning, hits a batter to start the inning. So look, it wasn't a great outing for Kyle Hart. And I think that's what Mike was alluding to in the answer there to Kevin, is that, look, forget about the length, right, of what he was going to go and kind of that interaction there. But the bottom line is Hart walks the number 9 batter, then comes back out after the home run in the 4th inning, hits the first guy of the inning. That run ends up scoring, and it just put the Padres in a tough spot today. Now, the offense didn't do much until the 9th inning, and it came from, not the top of the order, not the middle of the order. Padres able to manufacture a couple of runs in that 9th inning. But the bottom line is, because of Hart walking a guy, giving up a home run, hitting a guy, Padres all of a sudden were down 3-0. And like Mike said at the start of the postgame press conference, they couldn't claw back in this game. So they weren't put in a great spot by Kyle Hart, by some of their pitching today. Obviously, Wandy Peralta had a really tough 5th inning, giving up 3 runs. But I just want to make the point. I don't think, because I think when Hart got called up today, the immediate thought was, and I said it pregame, the immediate thought was bulk innings, right? That he's going to give them some length. And I'm just telling you, he has not thrown more than 43 pitches in over a month. So it wasn't like Kyle Hart was going to, throw 60 pitches today. I don't think that was probably in the cards. Probably a shorter outing was going to happen regardless, but it was not the most effective shorter outing, which I guess is really the point when you look at this game. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll go through the game highlights, full game recap coming your way. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up later as well. Final score, the Twins 7 and the Padres 2 as the Twins win the rubber game of this 3-game series. Padres back home tomorrow. More after this.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor league baseball broadcaster. Start my day with a cup of coffee, then to the stadium. Go to my booth, spend the morning cutting video from the night before, catching up on email, and researching for tonight's game. Then I go home, shower, get my work clothes, and on this day I made a stop for lunch. Barbecue. Then I drive back to the stadium, get our equipment ready like setting up all the mics. I watch batting practice, talk to the players, coaches, write my lineups in, keep researching, and prep for my pregame interviews. Change from this to this. I head down to the field, host my pregame show on TV, then back upstairs where I broadcast every pitch on TV and radio.
And the Soft Poodles win!
When you watch baseball on TV or listen to it on the radio, have you ever wondered how you hear this sound so clearly? At my stadium, that sound comes from this mic behind home plate. It's wired all the way up to my broadcast booth, where I plug it in and that's how you hear it. During my broadcast last night, everyone wanted me to say avocado. Could I do it? Beautiful night here in San Antonio. So nice it almost feels like that feeling when you break open an avocado, you spread it on a good piece of toast, you take a bite in the morning, and with that, the 2021 season, and with that, the 2022 season, and with that, the 2023 season, and with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. Why do I peek down when a fly ball goes in the air? Let me show you. In my scorebook, I write down the defense and where every player is. That way, I can do this. 2-2 on the way. Swinging a drive into left. Going back, Matajevic drifting by the fence. He's looking up and say goodbye.
People keep asking how I go to the bathroom during games. Here's the answer. I run. The bathroom is far away. Really far. I only have 90 seconds.
The bottom half of the sixth
I'm
inning.
always out of breath.
Frisco 3, Amarillo 2.
How other broadcasters handle a foul ball.
Yeah! Hacks!
How I handle
3-2.
one.
Hit foul straight back this way. Oh my goodness.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. Twins win it by a final score of 7-2 on this Sunday as the Padres drop 2 of 3 in Minnesota. Military Sunday on the Padres Radio Network is presented by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, no cost maintenance standard, so you get peace of mind standard. We'll dive into today's game, some of the details and the radio highlights in just a moment. You heard me say before Mike Shildt spoke in our last segment that Fernando Tatis Jr. Could be seen on the television broadcast today on Roku on the national broadcast today. Corey Provis, a broadcaster for the Twins, and Mark Grant, of course, of the Padres TV broadcast. They were the broadcast pairing today. That's what they do on that Roku broadcast pair. One announcer from the home team, one announcer from the visiting team. So that's what they did today. You could see on the television broadcast, as I was listening to our call, but also watching on TV, You could see Fernando Tatis Jr. as he came in for a ball, a little blooper in the bottom half of the 7th inning, just ever so slightly reach for his back leg and pull up a little bit as he was coming in for that ball. And then he was, stretching a little bit in the outfield afterwards. And then he didn't come back out on defense in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And again, the Padres were down 7-0. So who knows? Maybe that happens. Anyway, the point being, Mike wasn't asked about it, at least on camera, for the broadcast portion of the post-game press conference. Now, we'll see if Fernando says anything after the game. We'll see if there's any reporting on it by the end of today into tomorrow. I'm not trying to make you panic here that there's some injury to Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm just telling you that you could see it on the television broadcast. They did talk about it a little bit on the broadcast as well. So we'll see. I don't know if there's anything to be concerned about there with Tatis or not. I don't know if it's going to be just a big nothing or if there was something there with Tatis, but it is something to just keep in mind and keep an eye on in the reporting that comes out from the clubhouse today and into tomorrow. Hopefully he's A-okay, no big deal, but you could see it that he did reach back for the back of that right leg as he was coming in for that ball. Did not come back out for the 8th inning, but we did not hear anything about it there from Mike Shildt. He was not asked about it. So we'll see what the reporting is potentially on Tatis coming out of the clubhouse later on today. Let's recap this one from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
David Morgan, the opener for the Padres today, he did a good job opening up this game. 2 scoreless innings. He retired 6 of the 7 batters he faced. Padres faced Twins right-hander Joe Ryan today. He was good early on, 3 scoreless innings to begin his day, including stranding a runner in scoring position in the 2nd. We still had a 0-0 game as lefty Kyle Hart took the mound for the Padres in the bottom half of the 3rd. Hart retired, the first man he faced, but then he walked the number 9 batter, Austin Martin. That was costly because Byron Buxton was next.
Buxton hits it in the air, high and deep to left field. Sheets is back at the wall. This one gonna go up over the flowers, and a new career high now for Buxton, his 29th of the year. Twins will take a 2-0 lead.
Padres trailed 2-0 through 3 innings. They then had a good scoring chance against Ryan in the top of the 4th inning. Best opportunity of the day, really. Runners on first and second, nobody out, but Ryan retired 3 consecutive batters to get out of a big-time jam. Hart came back out for the bottom half of the 4th inning. He hit a batter and got 1 out. The Padres then brought in Jeremiah Estrada. Estrada issued a walk to put 2 on base. With 2 outs and 2 on, it was James Outman.
Outman, a left-handed batter, swings at the first pitch, loops it into right center. That's down and a base hit. Keyshaw rounding third. He'll score easily. And an RBI single for James Outman makes it 3-0 Twins here in the 4th.
Twins led 3-0 after 4 innings in this one. Wandy Peralta entered for the bottom half of the 5th inning. It did not go particularly well. Peralta allowed a double, a walk, an RBI single to Luke Keyshaw, a sac fly to Ryan Jeffers, an RBI single to Royce Lewis. 3 runs on 3 hits for the Twins in the 5th inning. It was a 6-0 game. The story of the game really was Joe Ryan. He was terrific for Minnesota. 7 shutout innings. He allowed 5 hits. It wasn't like the Padres had no activity on the bases against them. They went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position in those 7 innings with Ryan on the mound. They left 7 on base in those 7 innings. So the Padres were down big, yes, but also did not capitalize when they had opportunities against Joe Ryan. Twins would get another run in the bottom half of the 7th inning on that aforementioned bloop single by Royce Lewis to score the 7th run, make it 7-0. Padres then did make some noise in the 9th inning. There were 2 outs, a runner on base for Freddie Fermin.
1-0 pitch. Fermin hits it hard and fair up the left field line. They're not going to get shut out. McCoy rounding third. He'll score easily as it goes all the way to the corner. And Freddie Fermin, who had struck out each of his first 3 at-bats, collects an RBI double with 2 outs here in the 9th.
Bryce Johnson, who had come into the game, stepped in. Fermin on base.
Fermin leads, now the pitch, and Johnson in the air up the right field line. Wallner over towards the line, not going to get there. That's down for a base hit. Fermin will come in to score, and the Padres have a pair here in the 9th inning. It's 7-2.
So a nice job by the Padres making a little bit of noise in that ninth inning against Michael Tonkin, the only reliever used today for Minnesota, but the 2 runs in the ninth inning, not enough as the Twins win it by a final score of 7-2. Again, the Padres drop to 76 and 61. Minnesota improves to 62 and 74. 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Padres today. For the Twins, 7 runs, 8 hits, and a 1 error. Winning pitcher today, Joe Ryan. He was terrific. 7 scoreless innings, struck out 8, gave up 5 hits. He improves to 13 and 7. Losing pitcher today was Kyle Hart, who drops to 3 and 3 in the major leagues this season. When we come back, we'll get into some of our daily awards. We have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. Final today, Twins 7 and the Padres 2. Our post-game coverage continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, Twins 7 and the Padres 2. Hey, player, the all-new Jamul Casino Resort is all for you with a Lux Hotel, a relaxing spa, a rooftop pool. This is the place to enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. The all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place, now open. Tough one today for the Padres as they drop this series finale rubber match of this 3-game set in Minnesota. Padres only go 2-4 on this road trip, but hopefully some home cooking for them tomorrow. They return home, quick turnaround to play the Orioles tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage will begin at 2:40 from Petco Park. Padres now just 33-39 on the road this season after today, but at home, it's been a much different story. Padres will enter tomorrow 43-22 at Petco Park. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Well, as far as the Padres side of things today, I would say, Couple of options we could go with for a relief pitcher of the game. Now, on the Twins side, certainly you could give it to Michael Tonkin, though he gave up 2 runs in the 9th inning, was pitching with a 7-0 lead, although, you know what, made sure that Rocco Baldelli didn't have to use anybody else in this game where the Twins had a big lead. But you know who I'm going to give it to? And it's going to be a similar theme to what we talked about on Friday when we handed this to Friday, we handed it to Alec Jacob in a loss. I'm going to give it to Yuki Matsui, and here's why. Matsui went 2 innings. He threw 33 pitches. He did give up a run. I understand that. But you know what Yuki did? He gave you a little length out of the bullpen today in a game where you were down 6-0, then 7-0. And yes, Mason Miller came in a 7-0 game. It's not the ideal spot for Mason, who has not worked a lot lately at all. But the Padres got him some work, and also they needed somebody to throw an inning in that bottom half of the 8th inning. You'd already used Hart, Estrada, Peralta, Matsui, Jacob sent down earlier in the day. So you used Miller in that 8th inning. Obviously not the spot where you want to use him, but okay, got some work today. But, had Yuki Matsui been unable to give you 2 innings, you might have had to go use another guy. I mean, you would have had to use another high-leverage guy potentially, whether it be a Suarez or a Morahone or an Adam, a guy that you don't want to use in a game where you're losing 7-0. That's not the plan. So Matsui giving you 2 innings today, really was a big deal. Again, the Padres don't have an off day tomorrow. They don't have an off day till Thursday. So they need those high leverage guys available. And Yuki gave them 2 innings, gave him a little bit of length. So I know a little bit of a roundabout way of getting to relief pitcher of the game, but Yuki will get it today for giving the Padres at least a little bit of length out of that bullpen with the 2 innings. Let's tell you about the heart of the Padres order here today.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order today, the 3 starters in the 3-4-5 spots: Manny Machado, Ryan O'Hearn, Ramon Laureano. So day. Manny went 0 for 2 with a walk today. He came out of the game later, pinch hit by Will Wagner late in the game. Ryan O'Hearn 1 for 4, had a single. Ramon Laureano also 1 for 4, had a single with a couple of strikeouts. So a combined 2 hits in a total of 10 plate appearances for the heart of the order today. Manny, O'Hearn, and Laureano. So a couple of hits, but nothing super impactful as far as run producing from the heart of the Padres order here today. Let's hear today's catch of the game.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
First pitch to him, swung on, and popped up, foul ground behind the plate. Fermin coming back towards the dugout railing, and he's got just enough room to make the catch.
Nice play by Freddie Fermin early in this game, helping David Morgan through what was a scoreless second inning. Morgan very good today, 2 scoreless innings. I'll talk more about him in a second, but nice play by Fermin. Nothing too fancy in this game defensively, but that'll be our catch of the game. Nice job by Fermin going back towards the netting, staying with it on a pop-up in foul ground, and again helping David Morgan through 2 scoreless innings. If you do want to pull a silver lining out of today's game, I suppose it could be the fact that David Morgan looked very good. 2 scoreless innings in this opening role. Look, Padres had Morgan open the game for a second time this season, did his job. I mean, got through the top and middle of the lineup, 2 scoreless innings, and left the game with it 0-0. So Morgan did his job, and we talked about it pregame. But Morgan had a couple of rough appearances on this road trip. He gave up the 1 earned run on 2 hits on Friday night in Minnesota. Had that really rough outing, toughest of his career so far, on Monday in Seattle, where he was charged with 5 earned runs in just 1 inning of work. He walked 2. We talked about it. His ERA in his first 28 appearances of his major league career was 1.67. He entered today with an ERA close to 3. So it had really ballooned as of late. So again, silver lining today, Morgan had been certainly more up and down lately than he had been over the course of the first few months of his major league career. And today he was really good. 2 scoreless innings. So hopefully a sign of David getting back on track and a sign of things to come from David Morgan. We'll step aside when we return. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll get you ready for the series opener back at Petco Park against the Orioles tomorrow. Final score today, the Twins 7 and the Padres 2 on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, the Twins 7 and the Padres 2. We'll preview tomorrow's series opener against the Orioles in just a little bit. First, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of finals already today across the major leagues. The White Sox beat the Yankees 3-2 in Chicago today. Tigers blanked the Royals 5-0 in Kansas City. Left-hander Tarek Skubal going 7 shutout innings, allowing just 4 hits in that game for Detroit. Mariners beat the Guardians 4-2 in Cleveland today. Marlins beat the Mets 5-1 in New York. Sandy Alcantara, the win for Miami, 7 strong innings for Alcantara today. Blue Jays beat the Brewers 8-4, avoiding a sweep at the hands of Milwaukee in Toronto earlier today. Rays beat the Nationals 7-4 in D.C. Brandon Lowe. Lau? Is he Lau or Lowe? Brandon, you know what? I'm confusing myself. It used to be both those guys in Tampa Bay, Lau, Lowe. Anyway, grand slam for Lowe. I'm sorry. I can't remember it right now. I'm drawing a blank. Grand slam for Brandon. 7-4. Rays win it in D.C. Red Sox beat the Pirates 5-2 at Fenway today. Cool moment in that game. Jarren Duran, a 3-run inside the park home run for the Sox today. Reds beat the Cardinals 7-4 in Cincinnati. Austin Hayes, Matt McClain hit home runs in that game for Cincy. Games going on right now. Dodgers ahead of the Diamondbacks 2-0 in LA in the third, so that is not great news. We'll tell you why in a second. Rangers and the A's in Sacramento. Rangers leading 3-0 in the third in Sacramento. Giants ahead of the Orioles 1-0 in San Francisco. Rockies and the Cubs in Colorado in the seventh inning. Rockies ahead 4-2, so that is good news there. Braves and the Phillies at 4 p.m. coming up later on today in Philadelphia. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. I think one game just went final as well. Angels just beat the Astros 3-0 in Houston. So now that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. Let's quickly pause for station ID on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN-FM and KWFN-HD1 San Diego.
Hey, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. You're listening to Padres Baseball on Padres Radio Network.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. By the way, just so you know, the Grand Slam was for Tampa Bay's Brandon Lau. Yes, see, I knew it. I thought it was Lau. It's like, but there was another... It's Brandon Lau, and then it wasn't Nathaniel Lowe, who was a member of the Rangers. I'm totally drawing a blank. It was Brandon Lau, and then his counterpart that pronounced it Lowe was Josh. That's it. Okay. It was Josh Lowe and Brandon Lau. One was Lau, one was Lowe. Brandon rhymes with now. So Brandon Lau hit the Grand Slam for Tampa Bay today. We finally figured it out. And I know all of you on this beautiful day here in San Diego are saying, thank goodness, now I can move on with my Sunday on this Labor Day weekend. Final score, Twins 7, Padres 2. Let's hear today's play of the game.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Buxton hits it in the air, high and deep to left field. Sheets is back at the wall. This one gonna go up over the flowers, and a new career high now for Buxton, his 29th of the year. Twins will take a 2-0 lead.
Byron Buxton, the 2-run home run in the third inning off Kyle Hart, kind of set the tone in this one, gave the Twins a 2-0 lead. They would go on to take a 7-0 lead in this game, and unfortunately, that was our play of today's game. Buxton having a really great year. Man, when he's healthy, he's a great, great player. 29 home runs on the season now for Byron Buxton. He hit 2 in this 3-game series. We talked about it in the pregame. It was what to watch for in our What to Watch For segment today. Could the Padres limit Byron Buxton? And the answer today was no. Hit the 2-run home run off Hart, and that started the scoring today for Minnesota. We mentioned the score in LA right now. Dodgers ahead now 2-0 in the fourth inning against Arizona. So the reason you want to keep an eye on that, if the Dodgers do win, Padres would drop a game in the standings. They would move to 2 games out of first place behind LA in the National League West. And if the Diamondbacks do come back and win that game, then the Padres would remain a game out. Padres got fortunate, even though they lost 2 out of 3 in this series. Last 2 days, Dodgers have lost to the Diamondbacks. So Padres did not lose any ground. In fact, they gained a game the last couple of days. But if the Dodgers do hang on to a 2-0 lead early, Padres would drop 2 games behind LA for first place in the National League West. Looking ahead to tomorrow, it's a Labor Day ball game at Petco Park as we turn the page to September. First pitch tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. at Petco Park. Our pregame coverage from inside the Western Metal Building will begin at 2:40 p.m. Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres tomorrow. Right-hander Kyle Bradish is on the mound for the Orioles. Again, first pitch tomorrow at 3:40. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage in video form there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here today in this series and road trip finale. Padres go 2-4 on the trip to Seattle and Minneapolis. For the Twins, 7 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left on 7. For the Padres, 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left on 9. Winning pitcher today was Joe Ryan. He was great. 7 shutout innings. He improves to 13-7. Losing pitcher Kyle Hart, who drops to 3-3 in the major leagues this season. Time of game, 2 hours and 43 minutes. And the crowd at Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 26,956. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 3:40. Pregame coverage from Petco Park begins at 2:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here today, the Minnesota Twins 7 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Sunday.